Another thing I want to say. I think I'll say it in a second.
Come to take your revenge, demon. Back to hell with you.
I recognize these two as my former brethren, in life as Sarafan, and in unlife as Cain's vampire sons. Melchiah and Zephon, the weakest of Cain's brood. These bastards had no idea what future lay in store for them, how they would become the very thing they so despised. The Reaver hummed with ravenous anticipation. Janos had called it a vampiric blade, endowed with the power to drain its victims of their lifeblood. I was eager to see what the Reaver would do to these two.
Well, and this is where we need the endgame tactics, by the way. Because these guys will block more often than not, and you're not gonna have a fun time. And what was I saying before, though? Oh yes, Raziel already has changed history. Cain lives at this point in time, because Raziel didn't kill him with the Soul Reaver earlier in the game. And that should be all the change that's necessary. Should change the rest of history as well. Whether we are playing into our enemy's hands or not is another question entirely. But yeah. Well, this is kind of the final boss. And it's kind of hilarious because we are massively overpowered using the Soul Reaver. And immortal. Really immortal. We can't take any damage from them. The only difficult path is hitting them, since they block, first of all, everything if you don't fight them using endgame combat strategies, tactics, whatever. Also that they take a freaking huge amount of hits. And yet this is the best method of dealing with them. Wait, I can't even suck souls? Well, I can, but that guy's soul went straight topward to the giant number generator in the sky. Are you going to die yet, Melchiah?
As Melchiah and Zephon fell before my blade, I felt the Reaver's bloodthirst as keenly as I ever had when I was still a vampire. I could sense the boundary between us dissolving. The Reaver was consumed with my rage, and I was intoxicated by its bloodlust. The blade had a vitalizing effect on me. My physical energy no longer decayed over time, and the wounds inflicted by my foes healed almost instantly. The Reaver had made me invincible.
And then they open a door for us. I think it's this one, actually. Let's have a look. Well, the door is open, so I assume this is the way forward.
Have you come to reclaim the monster's black heart?
You'll have to get through us first.
My former brethren, Duma and Rahab, confronted me next. This all seems so elegantly choreographed. Exhilarated by the Reaver, I was drunk with revelations. I could finally appreciate the delicious irony of Kane's blasphemous private joke, and I reveled as I colluded with him across the centuries. For it was I who put these bastards in their tomb, thus providing the corpses for Kane to raise as his vampire sons a millennium from now.
Well, in other words, we get to kill them all over again. And this time it's us who is massively overpowered. Haha! Nice! Very nice. Spoiler alert, I believe we also get to kill Turel. Which is kinda nice. We didn't get to kill him in the first game, so... yeah. You guys can die anytime now. Yeah. I told you it wouldn't make much sense fighting them the old-fashioned way, in a fair way. Instead, run circles around them and stab them. Personally, I don't consider this good AI programming. All they are doing is blocking all the time, every time you push the button. Unless you're not targeting them. In which case, there's only a chance they don't block. You know what I mean? Oh well. Also, way to miss there, Raziel. Oh yeah, something I should maybe address. In one of the early episodes I recorded today, What, we are really going in the direction of the chapel? Well, okay. I said something like the Lord of the Rings came out after this game. I'm of course referring to the movies. I think, anyway. They came out later.
Get back to the pit you crawled from, demon.
And here at last was my brother Turel, who along with Duma would bear me into the abyss without questioning Kane's command. So dutiful and righteous, even as a vampire. I guess some habits die hard. The vampire Turel had eluded my vengeance. The Sarafan Turel would not.
And we get to fight a one-on-one battle. Which doesn't help that the guy still blocks like a bastard all the time. Yeah, in order to fight them fairly, you kind of need to be better at the game. What I'm doing is just running in, tanking every hit. Because I can, haha! And stabbing them every once in a while. Yeah, are you done already? Ow! Not in the back? Well, we have him almost against the wall, and then it was me against the wall. Bye-bye, Turel. Why would those guys open up my path every time I kill one of them? Surely this isn't part of Mobius's plan, is it? Oh well. There's only one more left. One more Seraphim priest that became one of Cain's sons.
So, vampire, here we are. You've destroyed my brethren, and now you've come for me. You'll find I'm not such easy prey. I don't want to kill you, but I will if I must. Return the heart to me, and we can end this now. So, you've come to avenge that filthy parasite and reclaim his foul heart. You're a righteous fiend, aren't you? Apparently I am. No, vampire. This is where it ends. But you won't be leaving this room. Now, let's finish this. I'll make it mercifully quick. As you did for Janos? No, that beast had eluded us for far too long. It would have been a shame to end him too quickly. It's ironic, really. The great Janos Ordrin turned out to be no challenge at all. Thanks to you. Did you hear his cowardly screams when I tore that black heart out of his carcass?
And Raziel gets to kill himself. Nice! This is the final battle in the game. After this, we are done. So I'm gonna go on a little bit over length on this episode, I think. There won't be any more cuts before this and the end. That's a blocking button. Blocking does not help me for anything. Oh well, back to the endgame tactics. Now the cutscene happening afterwards assumes I kill him in the middle, so I try to keep him inside the ring thing. Speaking of ring thing, wasn't there a movie called that? Dang it, Raziel, why you no hit the guy? Die already, you bastard! You know what? I'll lure you more into the middle. Just because I can see you better from here. And click outside of the window, of course. Ruining any climax. Well, I'm technically not playing this window, it's full screen, but I have a second monitor, and apparently if I go right far enough, I eventually end up outside of the screen.
I renounce you. And so it ends. My history comes full circle. Sensing its twin, the Wraithblade uncoiled itself from me, and instead wound lovingly around its former self. I felt its grip loosen, and as the blade left me, Its absence chilled me more than its presence ever had. A foreboding sense of emptiness and loss stole over me, and a terrible revelation gathered like a storm at the edge of my awareness. With all other foes exhausted, the conjoined blades turned themselves on me, and I realized, finally, why I had sensed nothing when Janos offered me the blade. The Reaver was never forged to be a soul-stealing weapon. The ravenous, soul-devouring entity trapped in the blade was, and always had been, me. This is why the blade was destroyed when Cain tried to strike me down. The Reaver could not devour its own soul. The paradox shattered the blade. So, this was my terrible destiny. To play out this purgatorial cycle for all eternity. I could not bear it. Despair overwhelmed me. You. Are you enjoying this game?
Don't fight it, Raziel. Give into it.
Was this your destiny for me all along?
Trust me.
I felt myself weakening, unable to hold on any longer. The Reaver was too strong. The compulsion to simply let go, too great. And then, a growing sense of vertigo and the familiar displacement. The paradoxical moment when my twinned soul hovered both outside and inside the Reaver blade. This was the instant, the glimmer of temporal distortion Cain had been counting on all along. This was the edge of the coin, the minute flicker of probability upon which Cain had gambled everything.
Now you are free to reclaim your true destiny, Raziel.
Behind Cain's eyes, I could see new memories blooming and dying as history labored to reshuffle itself around this monumental obstruction. And I could see by the dawning horror on his face that perhaps we had strained history too far this time. That by trying to alter my fate, he may have introduced a fatal paradox.
My God. The Hilden. We walked right into their trap. Raziel, Janos must stay dead.
But Cain's warning was lost as I slipped into the spirit realm, too weak to maintain my physical form. And there, waiting for me as always, was the Reaver, the Wraithblade, my own soul, twinned and bound eternally to me. And I realized that I could never escape my terrible destiny. I had merely postponed it. History abhors a paradox.
Seems like we done effed up. Yeah. History may not turn out so well after this. But yeah, the point in time that this actually changed, the actual place and time, where the coin landed on its edge, was when Raziel spared Cain. Then all Cain had to do was save Raziel from being devoured by the Soul Reaver blade. This now brings Kain into the possession of the original Soul Reaver, and Raziel remains outside of the blade. In other words, excellent conditions. I wonder what Kain meant by Janus Oren must remain dead. Oh well. Come to think of it, I may or may not have given out a minor spoiler in the Blood Omen 1 summary episode thing. Oh well. I'm sure it's not gonna be too bad. Anyway, do I like this game? Well, it was graphically a big step up from the first one. So that's a thing. Impressive stuff. But overall, this game, it's really short. I mean, you saw the time at which I last saved. It was like 6 hours into the game. I took like 6 hours to complete this game or so. That's just not a whole lot of time. Story 1 took me a lot longer the first time around, finding all the little things and stuff. I mean, Story 1 was a Metroidvania pretty much. This one is just a puzzle platformer with action. The third one is pretty much just a beat 'em up. Kind of. Oh well, the reason I like the Legacy of Kain quintilogy is because of this story anyway, and not so much for the gameplay. And for the story, they are pretty darn good. Although I dislike Soul Reaver 2 especially because I just dislike it. Oh well. Eidos and what was it? Crystal Mechanics? Dynamics? Something like that. Pretty good job there, really. I can't believe I recorded this entire Let's Play without even finishing posting the first one. Crazy. Oh well. Next game in the quintilogy I'll Let's Play is, of course, the Legacy of Kain Defiance. I wonder if there are any pictures we can have a look at. Well, I don't think so. Oh well, next game let's play is Legacy of Kain Defiance. However, in between Soul Reaver 2 and Defiance, I think I'll do a quick Game Boy game or something like that. I'm thinking Wario Land 2 or so. Or I'll just take a break and take a week off or so. I mean, I have like 3 weeks of episodes recorded beforehand. I can really take a vacation at this point. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting for you, maybe. I hope you enjoyed this bunch of episodes, this Let's Play of Soul Reaver 2. And of course, enjoy the Legacy of Kain series. This is Legion, and fare thee well.